Everybody, welcome back to the Spurs 9501 live stream. We're a bit early today. We had everybody in place, so it's welcome back to Am from London, Nico in sunny Tromso, and Cam in even sunnier Florida. Welcome, everybody. How you been?
Good, good, thanks.
Good.
Am, how you been keeping?
Yeah, I've been good.
Good. Nico, thank you for joining us. It's been a while since you joined our live stream, so it's very good to have you back.
Thanks for being here, as always.
No problem, guys. So let me start with you, Am. What's the international break is over now, and we're back to the Premier League. So what's caught your eye in the last few, since the international break about Tottenham? What's been sort of keeping you busy about Spurs?
Well, Romero's picked up an injury, against Brazil, I think, which, he can't play in the Leeds game, which is very disappointing. And Brian Gill is still injured, which I want to see. I wanted to see some action from him against Leeds. So yeah, that's been, keeping me, aware.
Sure. Nico, how about you? What's caught your eye in Tottenham wise?
I didn't see that much football lately, but I heard when Conte said that Romero was injured, I was a bit. And then he said Lo Celso, and then I started fuming because I'm so tired of that situation with him. So, but I do like Conte though. I think just watching him and listening to this. Is a very crappy Italian accent, but very interesting. He has this I like this aura about him. He doesn't have to say that much, but just looking at the tiger in his eyes, I love it. It's such an upgrade, I think.
Yeah. Cam, what's caught your eye?
Well, I wasn't there last week, so I hope you had a great show last week. Thanks for getting me back. I think since last time we were here, I ended up buying 2 tickets to Spurs versus Arsenal for about £800. And now I've had to fly my son and me over, so we'll be there in January. So looking forward to that.
Oh,
That's
excellent.
a big thing. That is a big thing. And I bought my new Spurs top at the same time.
So you're both coming over in January. Maybe we'll do a local show in London that day.
It's going to be Jam's 30th birthday, so
Okay.
he's coming for his birthday, and we're going to be going to the Spurs versus Arsenal game in luxury padded seats.
Oh,
and
really?
Free food and booze.
What? So
Not
you
free.
bought some? You bought
like
some tickets, some special tickets, have you?
£400 each.
Nice.
So that was a bit of a hairy moment. Anyway, so what caught my eye was it's very interesting. I think that 2 weeks that Conte's had with the team is very important. And in his interview yesterday that he gave, long interview which I read, the first thing he says, and he must have come to this realization, is I am not a magician. After spending the time with those players, he thought very strongly that.
You think he's regretting coming to Tottenham already?
It seems like he really knows his work's cut out here. I think the thing to say is he also said it's probably one of the most challenging jobs of his career. And that's coming from a man who's won, 7 seasons as a manager, winning 5 titles. So, I really think he has got his work cut out. I think Conte knows it. I think we all know it. And I think that now that the euphoria's gone, that, that he's here in his place and we're getting down to real work, and you look at the actual team on paper and who he's got to play with and who he's got to put out, it's still as depressing as it always was. And I think that's the thing that reality is now beginning to bite.
Yeah, I think. I agree with you. I think the biggest Conte's going to have to do the best he can till January, until the transfer window, when he can then try and maybe get some of his own people in. What do you think,
But I think so. I mean, so you're asking me?
Well, you can say I asked Am, but you go and then I'll ask Am.
And can we get confused?
Am and Cam,
go ahead.
Oh yeah, I think we should be able to make some good January signings, to strengthen the team so we can achieve top 4 for Champions League next season. So Conte, can be in Europe and try to get us a title next season.
But do you think he's going to have to do the best he can until January when he gets his own players in? And if we don't have the right players, he might struggle to do well. What do you think?
I mean, in the middle of the season, he just joined, so he didn't really have, enough time to prepare apart from these 2 weeks. So he has to do as much as he can. He he's already put in the restricting the tomato ketchup and mayonnaise, which has improved fitness of lots of other players. So if that's just the start of Conte, hope to see more from him.
Excellent. Okay, Nico, what do you think about Conte? I know you're a big fan. We're all big fans of him, and if he can actually turn Tottenham around, get us top four, get a trophy, do you think it's a bigger achievement than what he's done at other clubs?
Yeah, for sure. I think now it's about the system, implement the principles of the system, and just the routines and everything. And yeah, so I guess he said that he couldn't do that much the first two matches. He was honest about it, and then just have to do the basic. I think it looks like he loves the training sessions and the coaching bit, which I like very much. So I'm very very interested now to see. I think we're linked to this Tolisso from Bayern Munich.
Yep.
I'm not sure about him, but we need somebody there in the middle to give a boost and then also make the other players better in central.
Yep. Good morning, Simon. Good evening. Sorry, I'm going mad. Good evening, Simon. Welcome back. Welcome back to Marlene as well. What about this question, Cam? My worry is that Levy and Hitchin are going to and are going to be stuck having done no business at the end of the January window when we need players through the door. Yes, that is a big worry, isn't it, Cam? What do you think?
Well, I think that I mean, I agree with what Simon's saying, but there is an issue here, isn't there? And that is that now that we've got Conte is in place and he's had this time to see the players. One of the things that's obviously clear is that there are some really bad players that are not going to make the cut. And if anyone read Glenn Hoddle's comments recently, where he particularly criticized Ndombele and Lo Celso as just not cutting it and being able to provide that creative spark or be able to play that role within the team that's needed. I think that he must have seen since Conte's been there and had seen some of those training sessions. I mean, we all know it. And I think that they'll have no choice. I don't believe that Conte is the kind of person who's going to sit down and accept it and shrug his shoulders and say, oh, well, I'll just get on with what I've got. He will be making it very, very clear what he wants. And he must know very clearly what he wants already, because if he weren't going to get a winning team, as I said, there is absolutely no time to mess. From January 1st, we need to see movement.
Yeah. No, I think. Did you hear Conte's comments? I made some comments about Ndombele and his efforts and all that. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I think Conte's right. He needs to. He has a lot of potential. He can do a lot on the ball, but he just has to get his game sense up. And I think if I think Conte can't get the best out of him until like January, where we can make some new signings. So I think we can use him and get him to his full potential.
Do you think if Conte can't get the best out of him by January, he'll try and sell him in January?
Yeah. Well, we've had Ndombele. He struggled under like 2-3 managers now, and they haven't been able to use him properly. And if Ndombele isn't going to work hard, strive for the team, strive for the badge, then there's no point of having him at the club, and might as well sell him.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks, Am.
I just wanted to add to that, which is important, because what Hoddle said very particularly is he said that Ndombele's all the little tricks that he does in the park. He said we all used to do those tricks. He said all of us could do those tricks. All of us were great tricksters, flicking up the ball, doing this, turning it around. But what he says is what he doesn't have, what the rest of the good players have, is the ability to play within a structure. And a football team is a structure where they've all got to play together, and they've got to. It's useless if you're going to. Otherwise, if it was just full of a load of Harlem Globetrotters, it wouldn't be a football team. It would be more of a circus. And I think that's probably where he belongs a bit more, in the circus rather than at Tottenham Hotspur Football Club. I cannot see Conte really suffering fools gladly. I mean, he has got no patience for people like that. If he can't fit in with the structure, which I don't believe he can, because he doesn't work hard enough, he wants to flick it, and he wants to do this, and he wants to do that, and he wants, that is not how you win football matches. And I think Conte is about winning football matches.
Yep. Okay. Hey, Anne, thank you very much for your question. And Nico, what do you take for that? Harry Kane scored quite a few during the international break. Is his form finally coming back? Nico, what do you think? And then we'll ask the other two.
Yeah, I think it's good regardless of the poor opposition, because it's just about getting the confidence back. So 7 goals in the last 2. So
Yep.
it's good for his confidence just to get going again. I think it's good.
Yep.
Positive.
What about Anne? What do you think? Is Kane finally coming back to form?
Yeah, I think it is, and I think the reason he's been scoring a lot of goals to show Conte that he can help Tottenham, help the team score goals. So I think with this international break, it has helped him, come back to his form and show Conte that he can, help the Tottenham team again.
Yeah, I think Nico and you're right. It doesn't really matter who the opposition is. It's the the feeling of getting a goal and scoring. It just brings it all back to you.
Yeah.
And I think that's going to help him moving forward. Cam, do you agree with that or not?
Oh, I think so. And I think he really looks like a different player. I mean, yeah, against the good teams or bad teams, uh, can the coach make them into a winner? Well, I think the thing for me is that in relation to what Kane has done, scoring 7 goals, he already looks like a different player. And he is a confidence player. Kane is a confidence player. When he's happy, he plays well. And we all know when he's miserable how badly he plays, because we've just been seeing it. I mean, he plays miserable. You'll assume that he's happy and he's going to start scoring. The problem that we still can't get away from is who's going to supply the ball. I mean, the state of the midfield is an absolute shambles. There's no creativity anywhere. And this is where, I mean, we can blame Kane and we can scream at Kane, etc., etc. But if there's no creativity in the midfield, how are you going to, I mean, this is the biggest problem that we've got, isn't it?
Yeah. Simon raised up a good point. We've got players who are not good enough but try, and players who are good enough but don't try. Is Conte going to give him free rein, to ship him out? Is he going to be able to get rid of people he doesn't want to? Or is Levy going to say, no, I can't sell this guy. I need to get good money for him?
Well, I think the players who aren't good enough at all should be shipped out straight away. But the players who are good enough but are never going to try. I think with Conte being a new manager, they see a new title-winning manager. So they have belief in his tactics, because he's done miracles with Chelsea in the past and Inter Milan. So they should, with Conte and his new crew here at Tottenham, they should strive to, impress him and, try to win some trophies.
Yeah. Okay, good. Nico, do you think Conte will be given free rein and be able to ship them all out?
I'm thinking a bit about we have to go back to the basics and get the fitness levels up, the belief, and the system has to be very clear, and the roles have to be defined on the pitch, and then they will get more confident, and they will, the basics has to return to the levels under Pochettino. And I think if all the players know exactly what to do, and they have a clear defined system to play, I think this will give us a better they will be performing better, and then I think the creativity will come. I think in this particular situation, I don't care that much about creativity. It's about discipline, work rate, and fitness. If that returns, the confidence returns, then I think the rest will follow. Because we have some players that are creative, but they're not in the system, and that it's difficult to explain. I just think going back to the basics, and he talked about emotion in the club, getting back to the belief and everybody pulling in the same direction. This is if this returns, I think we're on the right path. I think so.
Cam, do you want to take that? And also, Carly G, thank you. He's got a question. Is he going to ruffle too many feathers? I mean,
let's take
is he going to be another victim of the Tottenham Hotspur top players?
No, I mean, I think we've got 2 questions there. One we had earlier on from Arlen Kuchek about can he make this same group of players into winners? I think the question is I think we've got some players that need to go. There are some players that will definitely can turn into winners, but there's too many other players that are holding us back. So we are looking at hopefully a transformed team. And I think the question from Carly, which is really important as well, is the only answer is let's hope so. Let's hope he does, because we need someone to ruffle those feathers. Half of them are sitting there prima donnas who refuse or don't know how to play football within a structure and within a team. I mean, let's hope he ruffles Delhi's feathers and we get something back to what the player was like before. Let's hope he can get something out of Lo Celso. I mean, allegedly the best player in South America, but probably one of the worst players for Spurs. Let's hope he can ruffle Dyer to actually start, not giving away penalties. Let's hope he can start really ruffling the feathers. If not, get him out. Every Spurs fan will back Conte if he decides to get out as many players as he wants. I don't think there's anybody, maybe apart from Son, I would say at this stage that Spurs fans would be upset about him getting rid of. If he got rid of every single player, would be happy. We'd much rather have 11 Conte players in that team than the players that we've got now. And I think I speak for every single Spurs fan that says I'd rather have 11 players picked by Conte himself playing for Spurs right now than the players that we've got now. So I hope he does ruffle some feathers. I hope he plucks some of those feathers too.
Yep. Okay, no, that's a good point. Let's just talk about some rumors that we've been hearing in the press recently. I'm going to come to you, Am, first. There's rumors that Conte is looking at Jordan Pickford as a potential replacement for Lloris. Lloris has only got 7 months. His contract's running out. What's your thoughts on that one? Do you want Pickford at Tottenham? Do you think he'd be a good, alternative to Lloris?
I mean, I think he's okay. His performance in the Euros was actually pretty decent when Jose Mourinho said he wasn't going to do well, and he turned out to be pretty fantastic. And Lloris, he's 34, 35. He's coming to the end of his career, Tottenham career at least. So we need, and Conte looks, into homegrown goalkeepers. And the best English goalkeeper right now is probably Jordan Pickford. So Jordan Pickford as a replacement for Lloris is actually probably a decent idea.
Okay. Nico, I mean, what's wrong with Galini? He's bought him from Atlanta. Would you rather give Galini a chance, or would you go like Am says, go with Jordan Pickford?
A difficult question, I think. I'm not sure about the keeper situation. Pickford, I don't get this very positive emotion. Is okay, but I think we need to do better. And now it's about the scouts to do a very good job and pick one, not Pickford, but pick another one that has a high potential, and we have to start getting it right in the recruitment areas.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Important.
Yeah, agreed. Cam, what do you think? Pickford for Lloris?
No, I don't think at all. I think, actually, to be perfectly honest with you, so far this season, Lloris has been the player of the season. I mean, if we had had Lloris right now, we wouldn't have had one of those first 3 games under I can't remember his name anymore.
Nuno Espirito Santo.
No, we probably wouldn't have, because that's how. I don't believe we would have. I think we would have been hammered a lot more against probably Arsenal and some of the other teams that we've played. He's by far been our best player. And I think that at the age that he is, he's clearly at the end of his career. Let him finish it off at Spurs and maybe win something with us, because I think in the service that the guy has given us over the years, he deserves it. I don't believe that Pickford is a...
okay, so you don't want Pickford. So Lloris is coming to the end of his career. Who do you want? Who do you want to take over from Lloris? And come on.
Well, I think right now I would keep Lloris, and I'd look for... I would really like another... a younger English, potentially a goalkeeper, something like that could probably come forward for the future.
Dean Henderson, Nick Pope, what do you think? Yeah,
I'm not sure that Pickford is the answer. He's a great stopper, but he makes some bad gaffes, and we can't forget some of the mistakes that he makes. Secondly, why would Everton let him go? I mean, they've got probably as much money as we have.
Yeah,
I mean, this is a good question that you've got up here.
This is a good question. Yeah, I mean, we've always had this issue. Hello, Mr. K. Thanks for joining, buddy. We'll put your question up in a minute. Every top team seems to have a top creative player. Kevin De Bruyne, Odegaard, Fernandes. With Eriksen gone, can Lo Celso fill that role? I mean, this is the question we all Spurs fans have been asking, and haven't seen the answer to say yes now. Amar, do you think he can fill that role or not?
No, definitely not. After his performance, 100% not.
Yeah.
All the chances, I can't even put into the words how bad his performance have been. He can't fill in that role at all.
Yeah. Well, and I know Nico's answer, so I'm not even going to go to Nico unless you want to say something on this. Do you, Nico?
Well, I just wanted to say that we have to be a bit realistic. We have the players we have, and he spoke about. I think that one of the first things Conte said was healing the division in the squad, because we have fractions there, and everybody has to pull in the same direction. This is so important. If we don't have that, it doesn't matter with the system, with the coach. So he has to make it a place where everybody wants to play for the club and wants to achieve the same togetherness. And this is obvious, but it's so important. If you don't have that, it doesn't matter if you... let's say Winks. I know we all have given up on Winks, but there is a player there. It's stupid to say, but
I agree.
Yeah, but like if he gets a settled system, if he gets the belief back, because he's lost himself when you see him the last seasons. If you get the belief back, if he feels part of the club, if he gets a very defined role, you never know. How do you know if it can be a mental thing? I don't know. Can be.
Mm-hmm.
Cam, what about the question from Z? And Double is there 3 years. Poch, Jose, nobody. It's an excellent point, isn't it?
Excellent. And I think Conte will get the message across to him, Z, and the message will be: the door is please make sure you close the door on your way out. That's got to be the only message that you can get across to him. You know, where to pick up your, as they say in England, your P45 on your way out, and make sure you get the morning ferry back to France. I mean, I think that there is a very clear message for Ndombele, and it's not at Tottenham. If Barcelona believe that they can have a luxury player like that who could deliver very little, then good luck to them. But I think that Conte will not suffer fools. To be fair to Mourinho, he did see it early on, and in the early days of the lockdown, he took him out on the park and he tried to cajole the guy into doing some stuff, as you can all remember, and he took a lot of grief for it, a lot of grief for going around to Ndombele's house during the lockdown and saying, come out and show me what you've got in the local park. You may all remember that.
Yeah, I saw those pictures,
he got a lot of problems for that. And he tried, but I mean, I've said this on the show many times before, and Ndombele has been the reason why 3 managers have already been shown the door. They've all tried. For some reason, I don't know what they see in the park from that guy, but they all bring him in. He lets them down week in, week out, and they all lose their jobs. So let's hope that Conte doesn't do that. I think the thing I want to say about Conte, which is interesting, is he does defy all of us and all of us critics. He does things that none of us expect. So now we've got a player like Davis has been rejuvenated. He's back, almost guaranteed first team place. None of you would wanted Davis if you had a choice before then. Winks, we now call as Winky apparently, because he didn't get the name right. It was a news article.
Winky, called him Winky. Winky.
Winky. Someone had to explain to him in England you don't use that term, but I mean it was hilarious. But he likes Winky. I think he's gonna. I think he could.
If you can make him a great player and go back to what he was previously, occasionally, that'd be great.
The point I wanted to make, Ray, is that the players that we think that he can make better, like the Los Celsos and the Ndombeles, maybe they're not the players he's going to make better.
Yeah,
maybe it's going to be the Winks and the Davies.
And Davies and the Eric Dyers. Yeah.
Yeah, and the Eric Dyers. And we've got to let these people who should have been better before he even got there. They should have been at their peak before he even got there. Go.
Yep. What do you think of this question from Simon? There's too many players they've let down, too many managers these players have let down. They don't deserve a second chance. I think that's a good point. I mean, do they deserve a second chance? I mean, how many chances are they going to get? Nuno, Mourinho, Pochettino, and now Conte. Some of these guys just don't deserve another chance, do they?
But players like, Ndombele, think about it, Mourinho, Nuno, Pochettino, they haven't really won anything major such as Conte. You see, in Conte's 3 years, this time, 3 years after him joining the club, this is his best state he's been in because of Conte. He needs a proper manager that has actually won stuff, knows what he's doing to change the players, to change their attitude. It's not the managers, have to have influence on the players to make them better. So I don't think it's just the players' fault.
Okay. Hello, Mr. K. Welcome. Nice to hear from you, buddy. Good to see you again. And this gentleman is saying Lloris out. I'm not sure I agree with that. What do you think, Nico? Lloris out or not?
No, I was just going to say
Ooh.
that I think the difference between Conte and Mourinho is Conte seems a bit more not so. The ego is not that
Yeah,
big.
yeah.
He's more humble,
Yeah.
but he has
Mourinho was
this.
living in the past, wasn't he? Really?
Yeah,
Yes.
and I think it shows in the press conferences. He is a assured man, but he's not arrogant, and I think that can help bring out the best of some of the French players, which they maybe felt they were a bit inferior, like
Yep, yep.
Mourinho made them feel not good enough. I think Conte is more, humble, old-fashioned, and he demands a lot, but he also is he seems very frank
Yeah.
with
I mean,
players and
Mr.
supportive.
K is saying Pukeford. I love that name. Pukeford is negotiating a new contract. His agent is doing the rounds as usual. Yeah, I
totally
agree. I don't really think. I want to ask you guys. Let's assume Lloris. I heard rumors also he may be going to MLS. I don't know if that's true at all. But let's start with you, Cam. If Lloris is going, which I don't want him to go, I think he's done really well. I think. Who would you want to replace him? As
I'm not really sure. I don't. Pugford wouldn't be on my radar.
yeah, it
I
wouldn't be
think
on
there's
my radar.
too
I
many
think it's-
errors, too many things going on there.
But who would you
I
want?
think,
Like Nick Pope, Dean
yeah,
Henderson?
potentially they would
What
be.
about
But
the
I
guy
mean,
at West Bromwich Albion, Scott something? I can't remember his name.
yep. I mean, there are a lot of good keepers
Carson.
out there. But we need someone who's young and hungry and that can learn. I mean, we've just hired a new goalkeeping coach.
Mm.
So you would hope that they would be able to work with Galini to bring him up to a much higher standard than what we've seen so far. There must have been a logic for bringing somebody in from Roma. I think it was ex-Roma that has just come in. So I'd really like to see what he would bring to the table because we have got Galini and we need to bring that. I don't think that this season is one where we will get rid of Lloris. Whether what happens next year, I don't know. With a new coach coming in, I think it's important. And just to go back to what Conte can do with a lot of these players, right, is what we haven't talked about. I think he will make Davies better. I think he will make Winks better. I don't believe he'll make Lo Celso or Ndombele better. But you know what? I think who he will also struggle with the most is Dele Alli. I don't think he's going to make him better. And I don't think he has any future at the club at all.
Yep. No, I understand that.
Me
Navaid
too.
Hassan is saying 6 new players and 8 need to leave. Well, if we could do that, it'd be great. Simon is saying Lo Celso is lucky because he's bought in the same time as Ndombele. He's got as big as backs. He doesn't do anything. Yeah, I mean Lo Celso hasn't won a lot of people over. He did pretty well at Real Betis. But do you think it affected him because he came when Pochettino was there? Pochettino left, that Argentinian connection is not there. Do you think that's affected him? And now Eric Lamella's gone as well, or is it just that he's not showing anything?
Yeah, I don't think it has to do anything with the nationality connection. I think it's just his performance. Change of leagues. He hasn't been able to adapt quickly enough. It's just his performance. Shocking.
Togetherness also very important. If you don't feel a part of the club, if you don't feel the club you have the passion, then it doesn't matter if you have the talent. I think in Argentina he has the passion. He has this good feeling. In Spurs, maybe it's a bit like because we don't have a direction. He goes on with some of the players in the squad, not everybody, and then you don't perform your best if you're not part of a very special project and you have this togetherness in the squad.
Do you think it's because Lo Celso in Argentina is actually loved and he's sort of caressed and he's like he's one of the best players, so he performs? Do you think that's an issue here, Nico, where Tottenham he hasn't got that?
Totally, and he has a good rapport with Messi. You can just think about it. If you go to a place like a nightclub with only beautiful women and nice people, you feel you get this boost. But if you go someplace and there's like this section, you don't know the people and you don't feel the connection. It's so important to be part of a good environment where you have the direction, the passion, the support. It's very important.
It's very important. Cam, Mr. K is saying we've already got our number 10. Doherty's available and waiting in the wings. What do you reckon?
Well, let's hope that those wings are about to drop off and he falls off with them. That's all I can say. I mean, I think Doherty is an enigma. I think he is one of the most strangest signings that I've ever come across. stranger signings. What were we thinking when we signed Doherty? I'd really like to know.
Hi, Bob Spur. Yeah, hello, the legend that is Bob Spur TV. Nice to hear from you, Bob.
I think that
That's why I got my cap on, Bob, because I'm bald as well. I don't want Nico to give me a hard time.
What were we thinking when we signed this guy? I really want to know what the logic was, because I mean, he makes Aurier look like a Pele. He makes even Dele Alli look good.
Yeah, but
I mean,
he was a
Do you
good
think
player.
Was it a
He
panic
was a
signing
good
or
player
what?
in Wolves.
Yeah, he played well at Wolves. He got
excellent.
7 goals for Wolves, Cam.
He
Come
got
on.
7 goals for Wolves in what was a very, very different type of team. I don't believe everyone can have... Every dog has his day, as they say, and I think his day is
But he
coming.
played well over the season. He actually scored against Spurs as well. Now, if Conte's going to play, 5-3-2 or whatever it is, then isn't that going to suit Doherty?
No,
Yeah.
I think we'll suit Emerson. I mean, would you prefer Emerson or would you prefer Doherty? Simple
No,
question.
That's a
Asking
good
him.
question, actually. Nico, what do you reckon, Emerson or
Yeah,
Doherty?
because I want to say something there, because he played in the Wolves team, which was built on work rate, this discipline, hard work, and this is exactly what Conte wants, and he does every club he comes into. The same. He has a settled system. The players know their roles. It might work out for him, because it is a lot of the same factors behind the Nuno and Conte. Even though, of course, I rate Conte higher, but Nuno wasn't up for the job, and Conte is a much more powerful name and everything. It might be a lot of the same things going on, but when another person says it gets more exciting, because he has the stature behind it, So, yeah, it can work out for
Cam's
Doherty.
left us. I think he's accidentally cut himself off. But anyway, we'll carry on.
He could listen to my speaking about Doherty. Was too much.
How often will we make out the Skip is the future? I mean, he is bang average, a poor man's league. Cam's only. What do you think about Oliver Skip, Am? Is he bang average?
No, I mean he's young, so you don't expect him to be some, Jude Bellingham or some, crazy midfielder right now. He just came back from loan on Norwich. I think he isn't bang average. He's just over average, but he's not like fantastic. He's similar to Højbjerg. Like he's very solid in defending and making some runs and helping the team push forward a bit.
Yeah, Cam.
I just had to log out again. I'm sorry about that.
Cam, you can also show the comments as well, from your end.
That's how I had to log out and in to see those comments. Thanks for
no
that. Appreciate
No
that.
worries, yeah. So, Cam, what do you think? Cam, your namesake is saying that Skip is bang average and he's just a poor man's Lee Catamol.
Interesting. Interesting.
Bite your legs, Lee Catamol.
I think the thing that you've got to think about Skip is that he's a young guy, very, very young. He's played in away in Norwich, where he was probably their best player of the season, and they got them promoted. Since then, they found it very difficult to win any games since he's been gone. He's come into a very poor Tottenham team under Nuno, and he's probably been one of the very few players that have played pretty well. And I feel that given the right kind of manager where he is, he's definitely going to be one of the upcoming stars. I don't believe that. I think Skip is one of the few players that we have right now that actually has a positive money attached to them, because a lot of these players are worthless, aren't they? I mean, who's going to pay anything for some of the players that we've got? So I think if you're going to put Skip on the market, you're looking at a good 35, 40, 50 million for Skip. I don't believe you'd get that. All right, well, whatever, but you get something for him. Then a lot of our players won't get anything for him.
Yeah,
not gonna leave.
So
his English.
Bobby,
his English. He's a well-rounded player. His English. He has a very good concentration level. He's a model pro. He's going to be an important member of the squad under Conte.
I think Bob's hit the nail on the head there. He's absolutely right. Bringing Conte in means nothing unless you back him in the January transfer window. And if they don't back him, then this guy could walk straight away. He's not going to hang around, is he, Cam, if he's not backed?
Look, what I'm going to say here is he wouldn't have come if he wasn't going to be backed. That's what.
But maybe he's got a gentleman's agreement with Levy.
I don't think there's a gentleman's agreement. I think that we really, what happened in this season so far, Levy and all those people, when they want to put the money where their mouth is. If you've looked at the financial fair play rules, Tottenham have got the biggest headway of any club in England so far. We've got up to 400 million financial fair play headway that before we even get close to hitting our limit to be able to spend on new signings. No other club has been managed that well. The point that I'm trying to make here is there's no way that Conte would have signed that on that bottom line if he didn't expect to be totally back.
So
And
do you
I
think he's got
believe-
something in writing to say that he's going to be given the money?
I firmly believe that if he's not backed in January, how he wants to be backed, he won't be your manager in February.
Yeah.
That's what I
agree.
believe. I don't think he's gonna. He doesn't suffer falls gladly.
Yeah.
You want it. You give him a job to do, and then he's not the kind of guy who's going to have his hands tied behind his back and his eyes poked out, and then told on to get out there and walk in a straight line. You either give him the tools to do the job, or you don't do the job. I don't think Conte's one to mess around. Give him the job, and he'll get the job done. But I mean, like I've said earlier, if he could get rid of all 11 players, apart from maybe Son, in that team, and we replace them all with Conte players, every single Spurs fan would be happy.
Yeah, I mean, the viewers, tell us what you think, in terms of what's going to happen with Conte. Do you think he's going to get backed in the January transfer window? And if he's not backed, what do you think is going to happen? Cam, what's that? You're going through the questions. What did the
we really had
Stevens
someone.
say?
Sorry about that, but guys, I'm going the wrong way for you.
Go for Simon Stevens. Let's see what Simon's saying.
This is a good one for you.
Winksy, I like that one, Mr. K. You're on form today, buddy. You're on form as usual. Excellent. But listen, let me put a question to you, Mr. K. What if, and I know this sounds really, really unbelievable, but what if Conte turns Winksy into a really good player? Will you change your mind and be happy to have him at the club? And why don't you just put that one out? But do you think anything's going to happen with Winksy? Do you think Conte is like a magician, can get this guy playing forward and actually playing well?
Yes, I think he can. When he first made his first appearance under Conte's reign, I think he played very well. He was making good movements forward that he hasn't done in a very long time. And I think, if he, after the 2 weeks of training, he might have, been able to change him a bit, make forward runs. And I expect him to be in the starting 11 against Leeds as Skip is, suspended.
Yeah. So you have
Nico,
this.
do you think he can work wonders on Harry Winks?
You have these three players: Doherty, Winks, and take Davis into account also. These three players are players that like to be told what to do because they're okay. They're not very good, but so if they get clear instructions, because he plays in a rigid system, Conte, and he said it, he wants stability. He doesn't want performances up and down. Very important for him. These players, they thrive under such managers. When they have clear roles and they have the confidence, I think there is something in these players. And they have a contract. So they are part of the club. And as Cam said, they won't be sold. Who's going to buy these players? Nobody's going to buy them. So, yeah.
I like this comment about Doherty. I think that's very, very true. I think Doherty, I don't care what he did at Wolves or where he did, he was always an average player. He was always a lowest division player. The problem for Spurs is, Nico, and I hear what you said. The problem for Spurs is we've always bought talent that is coming up. Doherty was a talent that was going down because look at his age. Look at what he did. He came up to his highest that he could be, and then he came to Spurs. He has nothing more to prove and nothing else to do for the rest of his days. As far as I'm concerned, that is not what is a Champions winning team can is based on. It's not
Victor
based
Moses.
on Doherty's of this world.
Victor Moses.
Victor Moses.
I
think Victor Moses was a young and up and coming player. Doherty's an old guy on crutches.
Victor Moses, I think that's wrong. But anyway, Conte can't just demand 100%. I'm not sure what that comment means, but do you think Conte can demand 100%? He's got the full backing of the board. Against no player is going to be stronger than Conte, is he?
No.
I mean, if Conte's got the backing, and Conte, he likes to spend on the correct players. So I think Conte, is 100%. He can, transform this team into a successful team like Man City and Liverpool.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, again, Mr. K and Conte trust. Absolutely, we trust in this guy. And as Cam says, if it means getting rid of 11 players and bringing 11 Conte players, then do it quickly. Do it quickly. I don't think there's anybody in there that has got a God-given right to be in the team. Maybe Son and Kane, maybe, I don't know, but the rest of them are all fighting for their places. And I'm sure Conte's going to do really well with this team, actually. But he has to be backed in January, because I think Daniel Levy's position could be at stake. Don't you think, Nico? In January, if he doesn't back Conte, he's in trouble, isn't he?
Yeah, he has to do it. It's about the reputation of Levy, and I think also Joe Lewis has seen something. He has to make a change. So for sure, he's going to be back.
You think about if he doesn't back him, you think that if he doesn't trust him, you think if he doesn't do what we said that he's going to do, and then Conte gets angry and he leaves or whatever, and he's out before the end of the season. Worst case scenario, he's gone in February, March, like I said earlier, because he wasn't back. Who then do you think would even come forward as Spurs' manager? I mean, we are, if we're going to be a top 6 club or whatever, in last chance saloon here. This is it, isn't it? If you don't make it now, there is absolutely no salvation for this club. You might as well put a big padlock on the front of White Hart Lane and throw away the key and walk away, because there is absolutely nothing left. That is it. This is it. We are now backs against the wall. Whatever you have to say, there is nobody else. Nobody's coming in after this. If you don't make it now with Conte, that's it. This club is over. As for any new fans, for anybody else, you know what? I'll personally ship them a padlock so they can help lock up the place, because there is going to be nothing left without Conte. This is our last chance, so they have to back him. I think even Levy knows that he's got to back him, because there is nothing. There's no manager out there.
He can't go for anybody else. There's nobody left.
There'll be
Is there anybody left that's going to come in?
Nobody left.
He's been extremely. Hold on, Cam. He's been extremely lucky to get Conte. Conte was available. I reckon Conte would have gone to United if they'd have fired Ole. Yeah. So he's got really lucky to get him now. He's got to make a most of this. Otherwise, it's the end for Levy, I think. I don't think he can survive. Bob Spurs saying Martinez at Villa is the best goalkeeper in the league. I mean, he's really good. I mean, he made a few mistakes, but he's a really good goalkeeper, I think. I'm not sure. Who do you guys think is the best goalkeeper in the league?
I'll definitely go for Martinez without a doubt in our mind, because I mean, with the defense that he's got behind him and the players he's got behind him, you need that kind of thing.
Who do you think is the best goalkeeper in the league at the moment?
I mean, in this season, I'm probably going to say Martinez, but overall, with the goalkeepers at the moment, it's probably going to be either Alisson or Edison. The amount of golden gloves and
Nico, who's your top man for?
I agree there. I think Alisson or the City keeper is probably the best 2 keepers for sure. I think so.
Become an NFL club? Well, that's a possibility. Yes.
If we don't get it,
Simon is saying Pukeford. I think we're going to rename him now. Pukeford sounds like a name you'd see on PES games. I can't stop laughing. I'm sorry about that. MQM Zindabad. That's one of your guys, isn't it, Cam? I think maybe.
No
Conte
idea.
Can't demand heaven and earth from day one. Needs to prove he can motivate these existing players first. I'm not sure about that one, actually. Conte doesn't need to prove anything. The guy who's won 5 titles across Italy and UK, Britain, has got nothing to prove in my eyes. What do you think, Am? Okay. Let's go to Am and then we go to Cam.
Yeah, I think, after Conte's success in England and Italy, he's got nothing to prove at all. It's the players that have to prove, their skills and their talent towards Conte.
Yep. Cam, do you think Conte's got anything to prove?
I think Conte's got nothing to prove. Who's got the things that anyone's got anything to prove? It's those Spurs players who have let the club down, let the fans down, let everybody down in their performance and in the way that they've played. We sat on here and talked about how Dele is always fell out of love for the game. He's fell out of this for the game. He's doing this. He's, poor Dele's this. He's burnt out. He's had too much and whatever. What about the fact that he's let our club down? He's let our players down. He's let us down year in, year out since recently. And my view is, if anyone's got anything to prove, is some of those useless, overpaid, bloated, ketchup-eating, mayonnaise-eating players that have been a disappointment in their shirt. They're the ones who've got something to prove.
Yeah. Guys, let's talk about the injury to QT Romero now. That he's going to be having another scan in a week or two. So maybe he's going to be out for 3 or 4 weeks. Nico, with Romero out now and assuming he's going to play a back three, we don't have many choices, do we? So what formation would you play at the back? Would you play Dyer in the center with Sanchez and Davies, or Tanganga and Davies? What would you play?
Yeah, you said it. I think that's the option we're gonna go for. So I think Romero is the best player in this central defense. So I think Sanchez will get the spot. I think it's not gonna change the system. Gonna stay with the three and build on the momentum or the continuity of the system.
Yeah. What about you, Cam?
I think very clearly that Sanchez will be one of our most improved players. I think he was getting better under Nuno. I think he had a good season this year, and we've given him a lot of grief last year. He was one of our top three of players that we wanted out. And I think that he has improved. I think he's a better player. I think Conte will be able to get more out of him. I think it's bad news for us if Romero's out long term, because he was beginning to spread the ball around like we were used to seeing from Toby. I mean, that would have been great, wouldn't it, if we'd had Toby and Romero together? I mean, we might be back to some of our good old days. I think we will miss that. I think Sanchez can spread a pass now and then. I'm not really convinced with Dyer. I think that he will stick with Davies because he likes the way that Davies takes over on the left side and can fill in for left back. And we all know that we have a bit of a weakness on that side, especially when we run forward. So I think they're going to stick with that, and I think those are going to be our top three. I'm not sure Tanganga will as yet make it into the team.
But guys, have we all been wrong all along about Ben Davies and Derek Dyer? If Conte, who knows 100 times what we know about football, sees that these are decent players and can make them play well, are you going to have to eat some humble pie there, Nico?
I think he hasn't seen that much of Davies because we've seen him for a lot of season, and
maybe he hasn't been coached properly by the managers.
Well, I think it's too early. I think
you need coaching to be able to pass a ball forward and to pass it to the player. You can't do that on your own. You need to be coached how to do that.
Yeah, but he's this hybrid player, right? He's not a very good fullback, not a very good center back, but he plays like in a hybrid position in the left side. He overlaps coming forward, and he has a cover. So I think he can actually be decent, and he's also a very limited. All the center backs are limited in terms of intelligence, maybe except Romero, and then it comes down to the system. If you have a good system with good support, clear roles, then you can be a much improved player. Can be.
Yeah. What do you think about that last comment about Winks complaining that he didn't play and blah, blah, blah? How does Conte deal with players who are not happy and like moaning and all that? What do you think he does to players like that?
He has to send them out straight away. If their attitude isn't right towards the club, towards their country, then there's no point of keeping them in the club. If they're just going to complain and not improve in their weaknesses, might as well just ship them out and sell them to another country then.
Yeah. But the good point is whether we actually get anything for any of these players. But what about the games that we got coming? We got quite a good run of games coming up now. We've got to play people like Norwich, and Leeds is not going to be easy. But what do you think, Cam? Have we got a good run of games coming up that can actually help Conte build up a head of steam?
I think so. I think that we now need to start winning. I think we need to start winning at home. I mean, I think that what is really important to remember is when he came in at Chelsea, they were 10th. Yes, they have a much better squad than we did. And they went on an 18-game running win under Conte, which ultimately led in winning the title. I mean, I'd love to see that. I'd love to see us up there.
Is it possible, Cam? Could we still win the title from here or not?
I mean, if we win every single game and other teams drop some points, then anything is possible, isn't it? Anything is possible. Our problem, however, is that he doesn't have the same squad that he inherited at Chelsea. He has a bunch of, let's face it, a lot of losers in there earning a lot of money. And they seem to have all managed to get together and form this big group, a morass of players that aren't really delivering. So, yeah, I mean, I think we're on a run where we should be able to win at least until Christmas, win all our games and get very close to the top 4. Get past Arsenal, who should lose this week against Liverpool, and start closing that gap down again and start getting up there and start challenging at least for top 4 and be placed next year for more than that.
Nico, if we were just suspend disbelief for a minute, just pretend you're dreaming and you're in the clouds and all that. Imagine if we actually won the league this year. Would that be the greatest ever achievement by any manager?
Yeah, but we're not going to do it. I think, as Cam said, we're going to close the gap to top 4. That would be great to get top 4 again. And then I think actually next season, who knows?
Can we go on a 13-match unbeaten run like Chelsea did?
We can do. I think if you see, I saw some comparison. Some guy speaking about every club he's been at. He's closed the gap the first season, and then he's made a title.
Push the second
Yeah,
season.
the next following season he went for the title, and this is like the Inter team, which is very similar to our team in terms of the stature. And so I think next season sky's the limit, but this season it's closing the gap and getting top 4.
But do you think we can win a title, not a title, but can win a cup like the EFL Cup or the Europa Conference League?
It's possible.
What do you think, Cam? Do you think we can win a cup or not?
Oh, well, definitely we can win something, and we can win something big. And I think that we're in everything so far. January comes around, you'll have some time in there. I think we should go for an FA Cup run. I like the way that Conte, even though none of the players supported him, nobody supported him at Chelsea, he still walked out with the FA Cup with zero support, not one player behind him. The whole board wanting to get rid of him, everybody wanting him out. And he pulled up. He got the better of Mourinho, much better of Mourinho in that game. He tactically outsmarted him, and 2 fingers to the Chelsea fans. Here's your FA Cup, and I'm out of here. I mean, I mean, if he can do that without any support from any player, without the support from the team, who then refused to pay him, and he had to go to an industrial tribunal to get his payment. So with that, and he still won on the FA Cup. Then I mean, wow. I mean, he can do anything here, can't he?
Yeah. Who's a better manager, Thomas Tuchel or Antonio Conte?
Well, at this moment, I think right now probably Thomas Tuchel, only because he's won the Champions League.
Champions League, yeah, I was going to say, yeah.
But it's pretty tight because Conte has won about 5 titles in the last 7 seasons, and Tuchel was struggling at PSG, losing the final in the Champions League, but then went to Chelsea and then won the Champions League there. So I think that's pretty good for Tuchel. So I think he's probably better than Conte at this moment. But if Conte can improve Tottenham, get us top 4, then he might overtake Tuchel in the ratings.
Yep. Nico, just tell everybody watching, what type of manager, in terms of Conte, does he like to play a settled team in all competitions, or does he chop and change for different competitions? How does he approach everything?
Yeah, he likes the stability. He said this. He doesn't want the highs and lows. He wants players to know their role. He wants continue, same as Pochettino. So he has a rigid system, and he wants passion, work rate, loyalty. And I remember so clear when he played. He was such an amazing player himself. He had the passion. He can play right midfield, center. His knowledge of the game is so good, and his ability then to coach the players and see it from their perspective, I think it's very important. Mourinho didn't have that. He hasn't played on a very high level himself. So I think this will be very important with the group of players we have, like Winks, Davis, etc., because he can say the small things, the psychological things, and give them direction, which is so important. If you have a direction in life, if you have some clear idea of what you're doing, you do it with much more self-esteem. So eliminating what's the word, doubt is such an important thing in football. Yeah.
Okay, Cam, would we have seen what Nuno did? He played a second 11 in Vitesse, I think it was. Would Conte ever do anything like that?
I don't think if he's serious about winning or about moving things forward. I mean, really, the thing about we can only say about Nuno is that nobody had a clue what the hell he was doing. Nobody knew what he was doing. Everybody was confused. I think the players were confused. I think even Nuno was confused about what he was doing, and it was shown obviously under the Arsenal game. I think it's coming back to this thing about Conte's Tuchel better, Conte better. I think it depends on what players there are. Tuchel's always managed to get teams with some very, very good players. How has he improved players? You could say that he's probably brought out a few good players at Chelsea, but he probably hasn't got the same record as Conte has of improving players and of coming from far behind and moving forward in the way that he has. So, I mean, the jury's got to be out. To me, obviously, he's our manager, so he's the best right now. And I'll stick by that. But, I mean, it's a tough one. It's really tough to know how much better you can get out with the current crop of players. One of the things we haven't spoken about, right, is Delhi. And Delhi is one of the players. We either say that he's gone and he's history, let's not talk about him again. Or do you ever believe that Conte could even get anything out of this guy?
Well, if anybody can get out of him, it's Antonio Conte, really. And I'd love nothing more Delhi to be the player he was in 16-17, where he got 15, 16 goals in the Premier League.
Yeah, but he has the last, under Nuno, he ran the most.
Mm-hmm.
Like he was in a wrong role in the team, in my opinion, way too low. And I think if he just continues the high work rate, which he has, and the fitness, if he gets higher up the pitch, and he gets the belief and everything, I think he can get him back to the top level.
It would be a great thing if you could get him back. You know, that poacher in the goal, take some of the pressure off Son and Kane to score goals. Do you think Dele Alli can get back to those 16, 17 peaks?
Yeah, definitely. With Conte, here at Tottenham, look what he's done with Diego Costa, Romelu Lukaku when they were at their lowest, and look at Dele Alli at his lowest right now. Maybe in 1 or 2 years, if Conte stays for that long, Dele Alli will probably return to his 16-17 form.
Wow. Yeah. I think
we hope that, Cam. I mean, you want that as well. You just don't think it's going to happen, but you do want the best, don't you?
Oh, of course. I want the best from all of them. I wish Lo Celso was this fantastic player that knew how to thread a ball through and pass the ball, or even take a shot on target.
But let me ask you about these guys now. We've got quite a few times Lo Celso, Ndombele, these guys. Are they actually going to go in January if Conte thinks they're not for me? They're not going to do anything for Tottenham. I'm getting rid of them. So is Daniel Levy going to sell a £60 million player for 30, 25, whatever he can get in January?
Okay, can I just give you some stats here, which I think is really
Of course
important.
You can. You're the stat man.
Right. So in the 2019-20 season, when we had Eriksen for half a season, remember how half a season? And then he went to Inter. He made... he made in that little half a season that he played, right? He made 72 crosses and had 26 shots at goal in 20 appearances. He had 20 league appearances in that time. Okay.
Yeah.
Lo Celso last season and Ndombele. Lo Celso's had 18 league appearances and Ndombele's had 33. Between them, the two together have made only 38 crosses and have had 33 shots at goal. So Eriksen on his own in the more or less was less than a whole season, nearly just half a season, did more crosses and more shots. Crosses more by 33 as opposed to 72, and 26 shots as opposed to 33 shots. Okay, they had a few more shots between the two of them. That's to two players as opposed to one over half a season and one over two players over a whole season. That tells you how much work needs to be done to get these players anywhere near what we were getting from Eriksen when he wasn't playing well. Remember, in his last couple of seasons, he wasn't even playing that well, was he? Yeah. To even get down to an extremely poor quality Christian Eriksen, they still have to perform at least twice to what they performed last season together.
So who do we blame for the fact that Eriksen had to leave Tottenham? Because he was one of our greatest creative midfielder players. He just proved it. Who's the one to blame for that?
I think
lack of ambition.
Go on, Nico, go on.
Yeah, he played a lot of seasons with Ali, Kane. So they had a chemistry. They knew each other. They could play almost with their eyes closed and find each other. So I think it's about getting the... First of all, of course, you have to Lo Celso and Nobel has to be fit. We talked about this so many times, and then you build the chemistry. So now it's about getting the togetherness. That's the biggest job Conte has, is that togetherness and pulling in the same direction. He has to solve this problem, and then you never know. Eriksen was there. Was it 8 seasons or so?
Yep.
He wasn't that good the first season, and then he got better and better and better. And he was a really special player.
Great player. It's such a big shame. Daniel Levy to blame that he left. No ambition there.
My point is, though, Ray, is that in a poor season, looking at those stats, these two players combined are worse than a very poor Christian Eriksen. It's not even about Eriksen.
Yeah.
It's the fact that it shows how bad they are. Yeah. How much improvement is going to be needed to even get them to
explain to me, why does Lo Celso seem like, and I don't watch him when he plays for Argentina, but apparently he's amazing for Argentina.
Togetherness, team.
Okay, so he doesn't feel part of the team at Tottenham.
Not the same level as for Argentina. He doesn't have the heart and the same. I don't think so. I don't think it's the same in the club as a whole, and in the squad. I don't think it's the same togetherness. This is the biggest task Conte has, is to he said it. He was a divided squad. He needed to get all the players on board. That's his biggest task.
Yeah,
I think so.
Yep. Agreed.
Yeah.
So, Cam, any other thoughts? You know, what's going to happen? Moving forward now, when are we going to see some flashpoints in the Conte era? Like, for example, Winksy, he made that mistake against West Ham. Jose dropped him, all that. Is that a type of manager that Conte is? You make a mistake in a key match, you ain't going to, or does he give people chances? What type of manager is he?
I don't think he's as vindictive. I don't think that he'll do that. I think that he'll expect that. But I think what he will do is, which is this comment here that you've got from Nevada saying, it's about the mentality. The first thing that he'll work on is that mentality. First thing he'll work on is that fragility. And I think that he'll see the mistakes in practice, and then he won't let them on the pitch. So what he's doing now is the reason why Delhi's not played under Conte yet, is because he's seen that fragile mentality on the training pitch. Why is he going to let that onto the main pitch? It's not like, oh, well, you're pretty crap when it comes to training. Let's see if you're any better in the real game. I mean, it doesn't work that way.
No,
and I think this is the big mistake that a lot of the managers like Mourinho and Nuno made, where they were actually could see that these guys were not performing in the training field, and then still giving them a game to see if they can maybe change their mentality. I think the first thing that he's got to do is get their mentality right on the training field before he even lets them loose on the real field. And that's the fact. That's another testament to people like Davis, who was the biggest write-off. For you, Ray, he was your number one person to get out, or one of your number one people to get out. And yet he's seen something there in his mentality that has put him on in the first 11. And that's the biggest shock to us all, isn't it?
Yes. But I mean, going back to January, if he wants to bring his own players in, which both of you have said, and everybody said, even Am has said basically that he wants to bring his own players in, he's got to shift people out, because for the wage bill and all that, he's going to have to get people out. So there will be movement in January, won't there? Am?
Yeah, I think, that's true. Like, there's
definitely going to be some movement. Some players are going to have to leave, I think, definitely. And we just have to trust Conte with that.
Question is, though, who will take them? I mean, you would keep saying these players have to move, but we've got nobody coming in for them. We tried to shift a lot of players in the summer, and none of them, they just couldn't go. I mean, we were lucky to get 2 million for Sissoko, or was it even less than that? Like we said, I mean, Aurier had to personally tear up his own contract to be able to.
I heard we're still subsidizing Sissoko's wages, but I don't know if that's true or not. Anyway.
No, I mean, this is the joke of it all, isn't it? Who's going to take these players? Who's going to take them? I mean, it's sad because they are allegedly assets on your balance sheet, and you can't just tear up all their contracts. But these assets are deteriorating very, very fast indeed.
Yeah, that's a good point Simon raised. Eriksen didn't have any backup. He was played all the time, so probably that's why he had injuries and stuff like that. Mr. K, Lo Celso has been injured for a long time. Twice. He's a good one to get back to. Yeah, I mean, why is this guy injured so much, Nico? Lo Celso? I mean, what's the issue here?
I don't know.
Is
I
it
go back.
togetherness? He doesn't feel part of the team.
No, but I go back to
I
the
think if he's injured, he can't be blamed.
but the discipline in the squad, the work rate. We have 3 fitness coaches now under Conte, so that maybe
Yeah.
that helps on this part. And the
Yeah.
system, if we have a balanced system, the work rate, the togetherness, then we can also afford making some mistakes because we have a stable system and everybody works for each other. They don't blame each other. I think this is important. So back to the basics.
Yeah, and what do you think about Naved Hassan? He's saying, look at Liverpool players; they deliver week in, week out. Do you think that shows their mental toughness? They always deliver, even when they're 2-1 down with seconds to go. They don't give up. Whereas Tottenham, I don't see the last time we came back from being down.
Yeah, it's because of their mentality. They know they have a purpose in that game. They have something to win. They want to win the game. So that's why they come back from a 2-1. Like in the Champions League when they were 4-0 down to Barcelona, they come back and then they win.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I mean, what do you think about the thing? There's rumors that Conte's only here for 18 months, and then when Pochettino leaves PSG, he's going to come back here. I personally don't want that. I want Conte to stay, build a dynasty at Tottenham. Don't you?
We all do. I mean, I think that it's 18 months is a long time in this game, and that's specifically for somebody like Conte, who hasn't got a record of sticking around very long. But he has got one very important record that he's won something everywhere he's been. Would he want to be that coach that leaves Tottenham at this age? Mourinho can get away with it because let's face it, he's a has-been, and he came here, he won nothing. He's got on his CV Spurs that he has won nothing. Conte's still a younger guy. Conte's still got a lot to prove. Would Conte want to leave Spurs with nothing? The only way he can do that is if he rips up his contract and walks out and says this club is a disgrace. In which case, I think half the fans would probably walk with him. So my feeling is let him give us something that we can actually say, the legacy is built on, whether it's a couple of trophies or whether it is a league win, which is what we all want. And maybe we might be then saying, go with grace, go with happiness, because you've given us something nobody has done for a very, 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 very long time.
Yeah, but let's quickly talk on this point about, you've heard of the film The Untouchables. I'm going to talk about the unbuyables. Who are the people who are never going to be able to sell? People, what about Winks? Can we agree with that? Would anybody buy Harry Winks as he is today?
I think,
what do you think?
Harry Winks would fit into any championship team that there is out there right now.
Okay.
If you drop down a division, it'll be in any team there.
What about you, Am? Is anybody going to buy Harry Winks?
Right now in the Premier League, at least, probably teams as bad as
Norwich or somebody, or
yeah,
like
Norwich or Newcastle, something like that. Yeah.
What about you, Nico? Would we be able to get rid of him?
No, he has a contract. He's English. He's gonna stay for sure.
Okay. Okay. What about Eric Dyer again? Is he an unbuyable? Cam?
No, I think Dyer would get a club. I don't think Dyer's going to leave. I mean, because you need some stability at the back. Unfortunately, we've seen him for a long time, and he's been one of the most frustrating players we've got. But he could also be the most improved player under Conte. I don't think he's going anywhere.
Who are the players at risk then, from being sold? I know we keep talking about it.
The main players are Ndombele and Lo Celso. They are the ones that are going to definitely be shifted fast.
But not if what if he can't get anybody in? It's difficult to get new signings in January. So how is he still going to sell them if he can't get anybody in?
Good question.
Yeah, I think players, like, if they're not going to perform, then there's no point of keeping them then, because if they're not going to make the first team or the squad at all, then we have to sell them. I think players like Ndombele, Lo Celso at this moment, Ndombele, Lo Celso, Bergwijn, Ali, Winks should be sold as soon as possible.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
His best position is Ashes on the pitch. Yeah. Love it. I love it. Listen, guys. I mean, we I need some hope moving forward here.
Let's talk about the Leeds game.
Talk about the Leeds game then. What's going to happen to Leeds? Nico, we'll come to you because I know Leeds is Cam's second team, so he's going to have a bit of a dual split loyalties. What do you think, Nico, in the Leeds game?
Yeah. We know that we will run a lot. We know that because of the mentality Conte brings to the squad. So we will probably match Leeds' work rate. And then we have a rigid system, which I think is good because Leeds play very free-flowing football. I'm positive. I think we're going to win against Leeds. So I think,
What's the score?
yeah, 2-0, 2-1. I think we're
2-0,
yeah.
And what do you think? I mean, Leeds are also they're a high pressing team. They're going to be really fit. You know, Marcelo Bielsa's got them really fit. They play a really high pressing game. Could be a really, really interesting game. What do you think is going to happen?
I think it will probably be a tight game, and if we do play Winky in our team, I think we might struggle in the midfield a bit. At his skill level at this moment. So I think Tottenham might get away with it, but just luckily, probably like
So
3-2 or 2-1
if
win.
Højbjerg's injured, would you play Winks and Skip in that midfield?
Skip is
Well,
out.
Skip
Oh,
is suspended.
Skip's suspended. So who would you play in that midfield then?
I'll probably play
Winky?
Winky and Ndombele right now. I don't trust in Lo Celso at the moment. He's so fragile.
He's out.
Is Lo Celso
he's
injured
out.
again? Is he?
No, he's got a bit of a knock. So
Okay.
Right.
Cam?
Well, my view is very simple. I think that what's going to happen is Conte's first home game in the Premier League. I know he had one game 2 days in, not really matter or count as much, but this is the first home game in the Premier League. Lots of fans will be coming to see how he performs. And I think that Conte's sheer will and desire will push us over the line, even if that means he puts the shirt on himself and runs out and scores the goals himself, which about the amount of energy he expends on the sideline, he might as well be playing. To be honest with you, I mean, he can't be any worse than some of those players out there. I think we're going to struggle a bit, like they said, in the middle of the park because we've got other serious weakness. If Højbjerg is not playing, it's going to be a weakness. If we do anything like what we did against Arsenal, we're going to be run over. But I don't think that. I think the three at the back will not allow that to happen. I think that if we can get some creativity to Son and to Kane, in Kane's great form that he's in right now, I think this should be an easy win for Spurs. I mean, Leeds are not playing the best football that they've been playing for a long time. And this is our chance to get all 3 points. And I think to kick off Conte's season, I can't see Conte team losing to Leeds in their current position.
No, I don't think it's going to happen either. I think we're going to win. Any other final thoughts before we close the stream? It's been a great stream, really. I want to say thank you to Simon Stevens, Mr. K, Bob Spur, Nav Hassan, Hayan Hassan, Carly G, Jay Ashraf, everybody that posed questions. Thank you very much. We really appreciate you taking the time to watch our stream. Thanks very much for that. Any final thoughts before we close the stream? Let's go to Nico first.
Yeah, I'm very excited to see about the system developing, the relationships on the pitch. I think this is the most interesting part now going forward. So how he
and there's no international breaks, or anything like that. This is full Conte on now, isn't it?
Yeah,
the full Conte, not the full Monty, but the full Conte.
That's right.
Yeah, central midfield partnerships at the back. Very interesting.
Final thoughts?
Yeah, go ahead, Cam.
Final thoughts are: I think we're going to win. I think we're going to go on a winning streak. I think that if we can sort out the mess that is our midfield, whoever that may be, whoever the spark may be, then we're going to do it. Whether this means that because Bergwijn scored midweek that he gets
great goal, Bergwijn scored, and he had an assist as well. I want you to say something nice about Stevie B. Now, come on, Cam, say something nice about him.
Player in the team, which we haven't spoken about, but I mean,
disgusting.
Look, they're all bad. The players, we may say bad about them, but if they come to Spurs and give that passion,
you've got to support them 100%. They're our players, Cam.
I want him to succeed. I can't help it that he's been absolutely one of our worst performances in the last 2 seasons. I want him to be the best performer. I've personally got nothing against him. I hope he scores 100 goals as far as I'm concerned. So will he bring Bergwijn in is my big question to you. And when are we going to see this season? Are we going to see Sessegnon back? When are we going to see Gil back?
Yeah, we haven't even spoken about Sessegnon.
That's what I want to see. Those three given bring some creativity to the team. And I'm hoping going up to Christmas that we will get something from those, because I don't believe we'll get anything from Ndombele or Lo Celso. So let's look elsewhere in the team, guys.
Do you think Nico, is Sessegnon going to get a chance now with Conte?
Yeah, because they said he was back training, so that can be actually a surprise. That's actually a bit interesting if he gets his fitness levels up. Yeah, I think so.
Do you think Ryan Sessegnon is going to get a chance now to show what he can do?
I still think he's not 100% fit, is he?
Sorry, well, he's training. What do you think?
Yeah, I think he can. maybe if the left centre back role can be switched between Reguilon and Sessegnon. So I think if Sessegnon can do well at the left centre back, he might get a starting position instead of Davies.
Okay, excellent. All right, guys, listen, thank you very much for your time. I said thanks to everybody who posted questions. We appreciate you watching our stream. We'll be back next Friday. We make this a regular thing. Thanks to Cam. Let's everybody have a come on you Spurs. Nico, come on you Spurs from you.
Come on, you Spurs.
And Am,
Come on, you Spurs.
Cam,
Come on, you Spurs.
and me. Come on you Spurs. Everybody, thank you very much. Take care. We'll see you on the stream next week. Take care, stay safe, and we'll speak to you soon. All the best, everybody. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye, everybody. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you very much, Mr. K. Really appreciate you joining, mate. Really appreciate that. We must get you on sometime if you're up for it. Come and join us, please. We'd love to see you on the stream. All right, guys. Thank you very much, everybody. Really appreciate your time. And we'll see you next Friday if we don't see you before.
Thanks.
Thanks for
Thanks, guys.
having me on.
No,
Always.
you're always
thanks.
welcome, Nico. We need you on board. We need somebody from the North Pole in, because we can say we've got one of the northest fans in the world on
Maybe
our
you
stream.
maybe you could start dressing up as Father Christmas now, coming up closer to the festive
Yeah, I'm
season.
saving, so you know.
Yeah, it's the wrong color of the beard anyway. It doesn't matter. Everybody, take care, guys. Thank you very
Thanks.
much. Sweet
Bye.
dreams. Bye-bye.
Thanks.
Bye. Bye.
Thanks. Bye.